thanks for joining me here at MIF, and thanks for the kind introduction, Eric. So I want to introduce you to Fireweed Zinc, which a lot of you have heard about, and run you through what's been happening at our Macmillan Pass project in Yukon Territory, Canada. First, the obligatory forward-looking statements. Won't dwell on those. And I'm going to summarize a bit here. So before I tell you what I am going to tell you, I'm going to summarize what I'm going to tell you. So look, we're at the beginning of a commodities bull market here. As usual, the precious metals, gold and silver in particular, are the tip of the spear of that bull run, and they've started a pretty significant move already. But what's coming soon is the base metal bull market, and when you're looking to position yourself for a base metal bull market, you want to pick your preferred base metals if you're not buying a basket, and you want to think about what the best in breed companies are. For zinc, we think that one of the knock-on effects of COVID is going to be a massive stimulus spending and infrastructure. Infrastructure means galvanization. Galvanization means zinc. This is going to be very positive for zinc demand. And when you are picking the best in breed companies, we think our Fireweed's Macmillan Pass project represents one of the best and largest zinc projects in the world, zinc-led projects. Not just in terms of scale and economics, but in terms of blue sky potential. So, the best companies are going to move first and move furthest, and that's critical for investors who are trying to pick their companies. A project like this, we've already attracted the attention of resource capital funds, one of the big, large PE funds, mining-focused PE funds out of Colorado. We've had Teck, the third largest zinc miner in the world, invest in us, and things are just getting better. We've got a new zone in the western part of the property, the boundary zone, which is really improving things, and we still remain cheap. And what I mean by cheap is you look at Arizona Mining as an example. That's a company that got bought for 2.1 billion Canadian in cash in 2018. That was a 30x return in the last 2.5 years of the company. And their resource is about, at the time of their takeout, was about 3 times what our resource was as of our 2018 resource update. So what I want to show you is how we're closing that gap, why we think Macmillan Pass can close that gap all the way, and what that, obviously suggests a massive re-rate on our company valuation, given we're currently worth about 60 million Canadian. And we do this, without taking shortcuts and without dwelling on this. We're part of the Discovery Group. We believe in treating shareholders equally. We believe in long-term value creation, not shortcuts. We're looking for a profitable exit for all of our shareholders, and management fully believes in skin in the game. Our chairman, for example, this year has put about $500,000 Canadian into the company through our private placements. The project itself, for those who are unfamiliar, I know the MIF crowd broadly is familiar with the project, located in eastern Yukon Territory near the border with NWT, accessible by the Canal Road. You can potentially truck concentrate to the port of Skagway to go to Asia. You could take it to Railhead in northern BC to go to Teck Smelter in Trail as well. And that 2018 resource update, which I alluded to earlier, and the PEA that followed that, what's important here is, and what we've been, really beating the drum on, is that these were snapshots at a point in time. These were done only on Tom and Jason, the two main deposits that we bought off Hud Bay in 2016. But just on that, it looked pretty good. This was a large, 11.2 million tons indicated, 39.5 million tons inferred, about 10% zinc equivalent. So a big resource, a lot of metal contained, healthy after-tax economics, kind of hit everything we wanted to see, healthy IRR, healthy NPV, long multi-cycle mine life, which is critical for cyclical base metals. But what's happened since then, we've not only basically grown the property about tenfold, we've added other mineralized zones. We've got the new boundary zone, which is incredibly exciting and has no resource on it. We've done engineering to improve the assumptions underlying that. We've got, in March this year, we had a government announcement for a funding package for the access roads to the project, which would directly offset some of our CapEx. So taking out of context, the 2018 resource and PEA look great, but in the context of what happened since then, you see that we're getting a lot better. And broadly, the project now grown to about 540 square kilometers. Like I said, it was only Tom and Jason in the southeast, lower right of that map you see now, that were included in the resource update and PEA. But along this mineralized corridor, we see other, mineralized zones in what is truly a district. And what got people's attention last year was the boundary zone. We acquired the property that contains the boundary zone in late 2018. This is a zone that kind of is different, but kind of has it all. The drill results we hit last year, 230 meters true thickness of about 4.1% zinc. The first 100 meters of that from surface, 8% zinc. So this is something that has these broad lower grade intervals where you can start piling up metal endowment very quickly, but it also has localized very high grade, 6 meters of 42.5% zinc. So this is a zone that really got our attention and really had us curious about the potential here. And what was most interesting is, this is a very different style of mineralization from Tom and Jason. Tom and Jason, classic SEDEX is the old term, shale-hosted base metal deposits, kind of the new term. This is, that's Tom and Jason, is the SEDEX style. Boundary zone is very different. So this is more vein-hosted, hydrothermal style zinc-lead mineralization. So this is veins, stockworks, breccias, matrix infill, even clast replacement. So when we were kind of looking at, well, what's the analog for this? Where do you see deposits like this? We looked at the Red Dog deposit, where you have the basement of Red Dog preserved, and it always isn't always preserved because it's some stacked thrust sheets there. You do get what they call vein ore. Looks very similar to what we see. The geologists at Teck agree with us that it looks very similar. So for us, this was interesting to see that genetic similarity. Obviously, Red Dog, a bit of a freak of nature, a true standout in the zinc world. So to see any similarity between that and our project was extremely encouraging. And with that sort of genetic, similarity and the guide for what they see there, using that as a guide, we built sort of conceptual model for boundary zone, and what we're drilling is the exposed sort of feeder style system that we see there. But what we are looking for in the area is where it might be plumbed into a substantial barite horizon, where you get which acts as a chemical trap, traps the zinc-rich fluids and does produce massive sulfides, as you see at Red Dog. So whereas we think the vein style mineralization stands on its own, obviously it has both the scale as well as localized grade potential, but we do want to see if we can find those massive zinc-lead sulfides within the barite. So with that in mind, we had done a couple test gravity surveys over boundary zone last year before we wrapped up. This year we extended that to about 50 line kilometers right in the boundary zone area. And what was interesting is we took the core boundary zone and we extended it laterally, taking it from about 350 meters strike to over a kilometer. And as we had recently announced, we did some drilling on the far west side of that continuous gravity anomaly, and we did hit significant zinc-lead mineralization. Now assays are pending, but we're pretty confident, this looks like boundary zone style mineralization, and it looks like this is a continuous system. So having potentially doubled the strike of boundary zone means we may have a truly staggering mineral endowment here. And even beyond boundary, this is, as I said, a true district scale project. And that's not just district scale in terms of the size of the land package. We've got 4 known deposits. We've got hints of at least 6 more. And that's key. This is a mineral-rich district. There are going to be more deposits here. The 4 known deposits all outcrop. There's going to be other buried deposits. So the task before the Fireweed geologists is figuring out how to find these other buried deposits and how to properly delineate the ones that we do know about. And we do that, first looking at the location of the first and second order structures there. These faults are critical to the, for controlling the fluid, the mineralized fluids. We look for geochemical signatures. We look for geophysical corroboration. We do a lot of structural mapping, and that builds us towards a drill-ready target. But broadly, what we're trying to do here is create the most valuable company we can. And building on that 2018 PEA, we see that we've reduced the upfront capex, which improves the NPV. We've done engineering optimizations, which will improve the NPV. We've expanded both Tom and Jason, improving the NPV. Once we get a maiden resource on boundary zone and integrate that into the mine plan, I would expect that makes a very significant difference in that NPV. And if any of those, blue sky targets hit, then that's another quantum leap in NPV as well. So when you consider the what's the current snapshot of the project, we don't know exactly, but we expect it to be a great deal better than what we saw in 2018. And with that in mind, we're just wrapping up our drill program now on site. We intend to have a bigger program next year to drill to define a resource, a boundary zone, expand Tom adjacent some more, and that's all working towards a updated global resource for the entire project in 2022, and on the back of that, an updated PEA. And this is going to look dramatically different, and we think this will show it to be a true Tier 1 project if we get the drill results we think we'll get. And a Tier 1 project, everyone has a different definition, but for us, that's, long multi-cycle mine life, top 10, global producer for the commodities in question, so a top 10 zinc lead producer, and first or second quartile costs. And we think we're going to hit all those marks. So look, in summary, bull market's coming. We have an impressive resource already with very robust economics. Even before we look at integrating the boundary zone, we have government support that's helping us fund the project. And we have a very catalyst-heavy schedule coming in the next 2 years. That's it. Thank you very much, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions.